So yeah, we're playing as Captain America this time, and Captain America has two attacks, both useful to us. Two special attacks, I mean. He's capable of throwing his shield and also charging forward with it. Now, I prefer the charge, but the throw is there in case we want to stay in the same place, you know, in case we want to keep ourselves grounded and not throw ourselves into the danger. This is an excellent example of such a situation. We want to throw the shield instead of charge, because if we charged, we'd run right into those hooks and hurt ourselves. Now, Captain America, I have trouble dealing with projectiles with Captain America. Mostly because you have to be right in front of the enemy for any of his attacks to be of use. We could run around the enemy and grab and throw them, but that doesn't deal nearly as much damage as his attacks. And we can't hit multiple enemies with them that way. And that's where most of the satisfaction comes from. But there is another solution that I use in a lot of beat-em-ups. If we stay above or below the enemies, then they'll slowly saunter onto the same plane as us so they can shoot us. And if we activate one of our special attacks just before they reach the plane we're on, then we'll hit them before they have a chance to strike. And that's really satisfying. So that's how I personally prefer to deal with projectile enemies with Captain America. This stage has a lot of falling stuff, by the way. Falling dynamite, falling boxes, falling barrels. I'm trying to bait the dynamite here. But yeah, watch out for that, because there's a lot of it. And Luke Cage just kind of showed up out of nowhere. There are a lot of assist characters in this game that you don't have to summon, and Luke Cage is one of them. Now, I like to keep all of Captain America's enemies on one side, which is reasonably easy because his throws are very standard throws, you know? They work like you would expect beat-em-up throws to work. And his special attack's very good for hitting multiple enemies. That's my favorite thing about him. So we want to throw everyone to one side and then use the dashing attack to plow right through them. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I recommend it for maximum enjoyment. Like many of the NPC buddies you get, Luke Cage has a bad habit of staying really far to the right or left of the screen, camping out there waiting for the enemy to come back. I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe they're just a little bit too aggressive. Now, Captain America's ultimate attack is not anything to write home about. He just throws his shield in a straight line and it bounces back and forth a few times. This does mean it has multiple chances to hit the enemy. And it deals as much damage as you would expect an ultimate to deal, which means it's super useful for boss battles. There are some ultimates that aren't useful for boss battles at all, and that's a shame, because it does make the boss battles take longer, but usually it's because those ultimate attacks are interesting. We're waiting for Luke Cage to finish this guy off, but I get bored, so I get over there and throw my shield at him. Yeah, like that.
Captain America.
Now this is a boss fight room if I've ever seen one, so we're just gonna grab some health real quick.
What do you want, coward?
Hammerhead here is significantly tougher than the earlier bosses, but not so much that we can't handle him. He does have a lot of openings, but he always stays at a distance because his main method of attack is with a gun. And he has a few different bullet spreads, but all of them have the same function of knocking you over and keeping you away from him. When he does have an opening, I like to use the charge to run right in there. Now, his gun actually doesn't deal all that much damage, mercifully, because it is easy to get hit with. And I would like to point out that you can avoid his gunfire by jumping at just the right time, but I prefer to go on the offensive because, as you just saw, there's a full health recovery in here, which means we can afford to be a little bit reckless. While using the dashing attack to hit him while he's open is probably way more satisfying, it's the smarter option to jump over his bullets and then save up for your ultimate. That's definitely a lot more health conscious, you know. But I thought I'd show off both, because we have more than enough health to do that. The health pickups in this location are very generous, and I appreciate that. Anyway, Hammerhead's about done now.